Fleetwood Mac, right?
Yeah, amen. I love Fleetwood Mac.
Have a good one. Thank you. All right, what's going on, guys? So we're on a little mission today because the weather is finally looking really good out here in the San Francisco Bay Area. As you guys can see, clear skies all around, but we're on a mission because we're gonna be photographing with a lens today that usually is something that I am not used to. All right, so here is my Sony a7 III and the brand new lens on front of the camera. So obviously I'm filming here on the GoPro, but I want you guys to check this out, man. This is the brand new 7 Artisans 15mm f4 super wide angle lens. It's a manual focus lens, and I'm pretty much gonna be taking it all around the city today to photograph some urban architecture slash landscape. But just look at how it fits up on the Sony a7 III here. Very, very nice. I'm gonna be doing some long exposures as well. I have brought some other like filters, but that's pretty much the goal, you guys. We're gonna be shooting this lens, putting it to the test. But because this is a super wide angle lens, I don't know if you guys could see that, it actually protrudes out a little bit. My compositions are going to be a bit of a challenge, as I'm gonna try to utilize things like long exposure and just come up with as many unique compositions as possible. And along the way, I'll be talking about the gear that I'm using, including this lens, and what I am doing to achieve these shots. But right now, you guys, it is 2 in the afternoon. I picked up some lunch because I am starving. Whew. I am starving, you guys, so I'm gonna eat really quick, try not to get robbed by these gigantic seagulls right here, and then start photographing on location. So without further ado, you guys, let's just get into it. Enjoy the video. Way to our first shoot location here. Wooden pillars right here, right in front of the Bay Bridge. And what happens is, usually if the tide comes in nicely, you could get a really nice long exposure with that as kind of your leading line, directing over into your main bridge. Now there is one problem though, and that is right now it is way too sunny out for any type of long exposure. But luckily, man, I got something up my sleeve. This is a solid 100mm by 100mm ND1000 filter. So what I plan to do is I plan to put this filter on the holder, attach this over to the lens, and even in bright broad daylight we could get like a 30-second long exposure, hopefully slow down some of those waves, make the bay water look extremely nice and silky. So hopefully we get a nice, interesting looking effect with the new 15mm wide angle lens. Really quick though, you guys, check out that front lens element. It is huge. I wouldn't consider 15mm almost fisheye just yet. I'd say 15mm pushing to 12 is like fisheye, but this is definitely on the verge of going that wide. Okay, so one weird thing about this filter is that there's sun coming in between the glass itself and the square filter. So what I'm kind of doing is just covering that up just to prevent a little bit more flare. I'm looking at about a 20-second exposure right now. I am stopped down to f22, so as little light as possible through that lens. Here we go, you guys, without much flare. Here is a 20-second exposure. Let's sit here and wait for it. Hopefully my hand is not going in the frame. I just realized how close that is. Maybe I'll cover it up with my hat. All right, let's see what this looks like. right now. Hold on, we gotta capture that one real quick. Tunnel, I think this is Jackson Street. Check it out. We're gonna try to capture a long exposure with some light trails. We got some of these cars coming through the frame right here, trying to see if we could get a nice proper exposure. Let's set up, man. Let's see if we could even get this. Time is not on our side today. All right, so check it out. We are at F22. We have the 10-stop ND filter up here on the front. And it looks like it's giving us a proper exposure of, right here it's saying bulb. So I think let's do 30 seconds. And that would be a good, you know, a good exposure right here. If we hit like 30-second exposure. So everything should be set. And then just to make sure we don't have any type of, you know, motion shake or motion blur, I'm gonna get this a self timer. And now we are ready to shoot, so. A couple of challenges. The first one obviously being in sunlight, so I don't know how this is gonna render if it's extremely bright up at the highlight section here. Okay, so I moved to the other side of the tunnel here just because I feel like there's more cars going down this way, trying to get that red light streak from the tip. So I got an image processing right now, did a 30-second exposure. Everything's the same, F22, 30-second shutter speed, and then we have the image here. Let's see what it looks like. Woo, there you go. That's better. Okay. I like the moodiness of this. It's a little bit underexposed, so I'm gonna go ahead. Maybe we'll go to 1/4000, and then we'll shoot this at f11. There it is, you guys. I think we finally got the image that I am looking for. Thankfully, a bus passed through, and you got a ton of light streaks going on. So. Alright guys, honestly, I think I messed up. I came when the tide is a little bit too high. So usually I'm able to walk across this little bed right here, the sand bed. Obviously right now, water's coming in really, really strong, so I'm not gonna risk it. I could probably get through there, but that is raging right there. So I think we're just gonna have to make do with this little spot. So I'm gonna set the camera up really quick. Same exact thing, tripod, 10-stop ND filter, F22, and hopefully it's wide angle enough. I'm gonna try to use these rocks more as a composition right behind me, just because the bridge is being covered by this other rock bed, which is the one that I should have been on. But with that said, you guys, we're gonna try to make the best that we can do, and I'll update you guys as we get set up through this process. Let's go. All right, as sketch as this looks, I don't know if you guys could tell, I'm like trying to balance myself off of the edge of this rock right now, but we got the composition set up. It's not looking too bad, honestly. I think it's gonna look good. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna throw the ND filter on here, and hopefully I can do it without everything falling, man. Let's see. One wrong move, that could be the most expensive mistake I would ever make. My filter fell. Holy, okay. Holy crap. That was a close one. Oh no! Everything is falling. Lens is fine though. Alright, so we just made like 4 or 5 exposures with the ND filter. I'm a little bit worried because this thing does not lock in anymore for some reason. So I'm gonna clean up here. I'm gonna go regroup back on the beach and then I'll update you guys as we go. Alright guys, so I think I'm just gonna end the video right here. Check this out, man. That fall, luckily just that adapter ring absorbed all of the damage. The glass is perfectly fine. It's literally just that ring. I can take that off. And the lens is protected. So not the best thing in the world, but for sure better than the entire camera or the lens falling. Let's go back home, man, and let's talk about 15mm 7 Artisans f4 lens. Alright guys, so we are back home now. I'm currently editing the episode that you guys are watching right now, but I want to wrap it up really quick and talk a little bit about the 7 Artisans 15mm f4. Now, straight off of the bat, you guys, honestly, this is a very nicely built lens. It's one of the better lenses I've felt from 7 Artisans, mostly because of the all metal construction build. It just feels very premium and they're getting really good with their build quality. Secondly, it came with a lens hood and then just that front glass element. I mean, check that thing out. It is gorgeous. So here's what I like about this lens. First of all, it is sharp. It is wide angle as heck, 15mm. This is gonna be really fun when you put like a flash on top of the camera and you're shooting this thing at parties. Get those really kind of wild, flashy, wide angle photographs. On top of that, you could also use this for things like we did today, like architecture or like landscape for sure. And being that this lens is manual focus, you know, it really isn't that hard to nail focus. It actually has a very short focus throw because of how wide angle it is. I mean, very similar to what you would find in something like a rangefinder. So overall, man, I think it is a very solid lens. There are a couple of gripes that I do have with this and mostly just nitpick stuff. The first one is it's manual focus. That's fine though. I think that if you are going into purchasing this lens, you already assume and know that, you know, manual focus is going to be the only way. Secondly, max f4 aperture. But honestly, the one thing that slightly annoys me is the larger 77mm filter thread. That is a huge filter thread. Most of the Sony lenses that I own, they're all 67. My 2470, the 3514, the 17-28 that I'm filming with, they are all 67mm filter thread. So I do have to buy a little separate filter for this. Not a huge issue. I guess I could use like step up rings. Again, I'm just being a little picky here. That's the only real thing and gripe that I have with this lens so far. But this was just my first time using, and so I can't really give you guys a full review just yet, but more so just my first impressions, and so far it is impressing me a lot. So that's gonna wrap it up for this episode, you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comment section down below if you guys want to see more from this lens, but I will see you guys in the next one. As always, Minolta Gang.